All right, welcome back to Mars Radio. Sitting down for another interview. Right now, we're sitting down with singer TJ Marion.
Yes, sir.
TJ, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody. Let them know who you are, what you do.
All right. My name is TJ Marion, and I sing music. I sing out of the passion of my heart. So anything any song that you hear that I release is kind of a story that I'm representing for a particular audience, and I'm singing stories that I've either personally experienced or witnessed myself, or with firsthand knowledge of. Other than that, I try to give a holistic point of view of what it's like being a young black male in California, a young black male in the United States, just being someone that's been marginalized against in the state of California or just in the United States, in the school system everywhere. I just trying to give a different perspective and vent at the exact same time. So some of my stories may just be me venting about some frustration I may have had, or me discussing uh, an outlook on something that I think could have been done differently, or spoken of differently.
Okay, so you're a singer,
Yeah.
a very opinionated,
Yeah, very
deep
opinionated.
singer.
A little
Apparently,
bit.
I was like, "Hey, so tell them what your name is," and there you go. No, yeah, it's one of the things that I think so cool about you. You definitely have a different spirit than the average person. So it's a good spirit, and I'm excited that the Mars Radio viewers and listeners get to jump into your mind for a couple minutes. So thank you for doing the interview with us.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and start from the beginning. Where are you from?
Oh man, that's like I was telling you earlier. It's a little complicated story. I like to say, uh, in general, I'm from California because there's not a place in California that I don't feel at home at. Being that I was born and raised in Bakersfield, there was a lot of pit stops I had throughout the way. Although I was born in Bakersfield, I grew up in Los Angeles for a period of time, so I experienced the 1992 LA riots. I got to see the gang truce that was out there. Being that I was in South Central at the time, like it was just wild to see buildings burnt down. And like the craziest thing from that experience, I should say, was school was shut down for about a week or two. But then when we finally got back to school, we were riding on the bus, and many people from LA can express this. Like on the bus ride back to school, it looked like a war zone. Like there's nothing out there, everything's burnt down to the ground. Um, and the thing that was most memorable for me for that, besides the looting and things of that nature, was on the bus ride to school, there was a sign that said "Thank you." That was the only sign that was up. It was a thank you sign, a Taco Bell. It was a Taco Bell thank you sign, but Taco Bell was burnt to the ground. The only sign that was there was "Thank you." It was
Wow.
just hella ironic just to see that, and then like as an adult to know that all of that was done was is because of injustice of some sort that the people felt, but we did that in our neighborhood instead of going all the way just a few miles north a little bit. We could have
Hmm.
went to different
Right.
areas, but that would have been a whole different outlook to that whole situation if the hood went into Beverly Hills and started looting out there. Like
Yeah.
the military was already out there and they were blocking those areas so they couldn't go to those areas, but it would have been a different experience. And maybe today, who knows what it would have been like.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was misguided at the
I
end of the
think
day.
if the LA riots would have happened in those neighborhoods that you're talking about, the LA riots would have lasted 5 minutes.
5
Because the
minutes
cops would have came out there and killed as many people as it took to get everybody to stop.
to get it
I know
in
when
order. Like, cause yeah,
my
LA,
perspective is when they were fucking up their own shit, the cops were like, "Hey, that's them."
right,
They was letting everybody burn down their own shit. They were letting everybody
right.
destroy their own neighborhoods.
That's the sad part about it.
Yeah,
Like that's the part that
and
no
even
one
most
really listens.
recently, there was reports of government officials putting bricks in neighborhoods to help with the looting and stuff. Like piles of bricks and shit to destroy stuff would just show up in the neighborhood, just like
just
on
randomly,
pallets and shit. Like
right?
what?
But see, that's a trick that I don't. A lot of us haven't been like privy to. A lot of the times, like these gang warfares that are going on. If you really look at the reports, there's been a cop that's been dressed up as a Crip or a Blood going into the opposite territory and doing that and running off. And so now it instigated a whole war that was not even really true in the first place. Like it's just at the end of the day, like I don't know what you would express that as, but it's frustrating and it's sad to see
Yeah,
because these are people that at the end of the day, regardless of what the choices they made, if you really just take a step back, it's just somebody misguided somewhere
yeah,
and made it a left where they should have made a right, and they just kept making that same left, and nobody was there to correct it, and that's it. And so that's what I'm trying to do with my music, even though it may not sound like it a little bit, but that's
right.
what it's some jewels in there if you really pay attention.
Okay, so you grew up in Southern California for the most part, either Bakersfield or the LA area.
Yeah.
What were the differences between Bakersfield and LA?
Oh man, one of the biggest things that I got to notice in regards to uh, or I guess one of my challenges growing up in LA and in Bakersfield was growing up in Los Angeles. There was in both cities there's a sense of individuality and a sense of I need to make it on my own. I need to stand on my own 2 feet. The only difference between LA and Bakersfield with that is in Los Angeles it's a bit more grittier. It's a bit more grimier out there than it
Yeah,
is in Bakersfield. There is a sense of togetherness in Bakersfield, but it's still some grit and grime behind that. And just in LA, there's is more of a dog eat dog world out there. That's just survival of the fittest to its finest.
yeah.
In Los Angeles and in Bakersfield, maybe because it's a little bit more resources because of the oil that's out there, maybe because uh, simply just the oil. That's the difference in the situations with amongst the people. But other
I
than
would
that,
just assume that LA would have more rivalries since there's more gang culture in LA.
we'll see.
That's why you would expect there to be more, like you said, more grimy and more grit
Yeah,
because there's more negativity going around in LA because more people are at each other's throats.
that's true. That's true too. It's just you just got. I guess you just got to know where to be
Yeah,
if
for
you're
sure.
looking for those. And
Or more importantly, where not to be.
exactly, we're not to be
Yeah,
in either of those situations because you would hate to go to visit Los Angeles or Bakersfield and then end up on the news for any reason other than doing something great.
no, it's never a good thing to be on the news.
Right.
No, I've never seen the news and been like, "Oh wow, that's really awesome of that person." No, you don't want to be on the news.
I understand that. I can
Maybe
get
the
that.
newspaper, but not the news.
Well, that was the reason. Right. Speaking of that, like that's the whole reason why, for a period of time, I stopped watching the news. Is because
Mm,
once I graduated high school, all the people that I was friends with, we started making different choices immediately. Like, bad. Like, I went off to college. My friends, so fresh out of high school, he's shooting somebody in the face, making the news off of that.
mm,
Another one of my friends is in the news for getting shot in the head. Another one of my friends
yeah,
is like robbing people. This is what I'm seeing on the news. So it was like it was depressing for me for a period of time just to watch uh, my peers uh, just not come making out what they wanted to be. Like I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, this is how we make the news though. Like I
yeah,
remember on football, we're on the football squad, like we trying to make the news clips, we trying to make the newspaper.
right.
But now these same dudes that I'm with, you know, they in the news, but they shooting people in the
Yeah,
face.
it's not good news.
They running down the street. They're they're robbing. They're having shootouts at nightclubs, and then the car that they're in is on the news. Like I can't even necessarily kick it with y'all right now. It's too hot. Like
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's
you
just
might be on the news on accident.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
the whole situation. It's just crazy.